Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay? My name is Robyn Staggs. As she mentioned, I am the Senior Relationship Manager for Bank of America in our Global Commercial Banking. And I'm here local in Northwest Arkansas, just actually over there in Village on the Creeks. And for those that may not be aware, Bank of America is a leading global financial institution. We serve our clients across the United States, but also in 35 different countries. In my role specifically, I get to work with a team of partners that specialize in specific ways we serve our clients. And then what we do is we get to know our clients real well, and we learn about their different unique situations, and then we deliver very strategically to them different financial solutions and our digital capabilities as well. So what we are focused on doing is really, leveraging our leading technology and trying to couple those together so we provide a high-tech but high-touch experience for our clients. And our senior leaders are often reminding us that we are a tech company. We just happen to operate in the financial services business. We spend over $10 billion a year in technology and new advancements. And in 2022, just to give you another number, we were awarded 608 patents. It's up 19% year over year, but to put that in perspective, that placed us 75th in the Intellectual Property Owners Association top 300 list of patent owners. And so really, when you think about how that was done, it was our people. And in all that it takes to innovate, at the core of everything that we do and deliver is our people. And that's really the heart of what we wanted to talk about today. So I am honored to have with me this group here that will provide insight into what they're seeing in the tech industry, the evolution, and what I know are going to be words of wisdom as well. So first off, I'd like to ask Sapna, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself. Again, you are, and I love your title, you are VP of Talent, Experience, and Culture with Kitestring. So would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and Kitestring as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Sapna Ramachandran, and I am super excited to be on this panel today. I am the Vice President of Talent, Experience, and Culture at Kitestring Technical Services, and I've lived in Bentonville for around 10 years now. And the Tech Summit is very special to me, and I'm very fortunate to be on their executive committee. At Kitestring, my role is to make sure we bring in the right technical talent, make sure they go through a great employee experience, and feel like they're part of a great culture that is inclusive and also supports the community we live in. I think two main things makes Kitestring who we are. One is people and the other is technology. I think people who enable technology are our product, and that is why we are in the business of both. And I'm super proud to say that in 1 week, we will be celebrating our 25 years anniversary. So looking forward to many more years to come. A little about Kitestring. We are focused in retail technology. We specialize in areas like point of sale systems, payment systems, e-commerce, loss prevention, and even healthcare systems. We have a few service offerings that I'd like to mention. Durable products team is something that we are very proud of, and we do a great job at it. We also do custom design and development. We do high-level strategic consulting, and also what we like to call as co-engineering. If you'd like to know more about Kitestring, visit us at kitestring.com.
Awesome.
That's my spiel.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing more from you through this panel. Joel, if you don't mind.
Hey, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Joel, Sporleder. I lead analytics delivery as part of our data analytics organization at Tyson Technology. I've been in Arkansas over 20 years at this point, working obviously a lot of focus within retail, spent a lot of time at Walmart, technology, and also at a local startup. Our role is all about, within data analytics, delivering those analytics solutions across Tyson for use, whether it be within our corporate environment or at our plant facilities, depending on where those needs are for data or analytics solutions. A little bit about Tyson. Obviously, we're focused on providing protein to the world, and that's in various forms under our Tyson brand, but we also have a number of other labels such as Hillshire Farms, Ballpark that you may recognize. Very excited to be a part of this panel. Seen this area grow a lot, seen these technology roles continue to change. And obviously, I'll put in my pitch just like a Sapna. We're obviously looking for top technical talent at Tyson Tech, so by all means, take a look at our careers page.
Thanks so much, Joel. Andrew, would you mind?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Andrew Healey. I work with Central States Manufacturing. So I'm a recent import here to Northwest Arkansas. Came from Seattle. Up there, worked in tech for just about 20 years, Department of Defense side, at Amazon Web Services, and then at the startup space with a couple Bain Capital investments. Picked Northwest Arkansas, though, because we love the area. And I'm just grateful that I landed at Central States Manufacturing, a company that I had never heard of until we had come here. And I find that even a lot of locals hadn't heard of them. So if you see a steel building out there, a steel roof or metal roof, there's a high likelihood that it came through one of our plants. So we started in 1988 in Rogers, and we make metal building components. So all the things that go into building, for bringing up metal buildings. And there's no, science or I guess secret sauce behind what we do. There's a lot of organizations out there that do what we do. We move about 1 billion pounds of steel through our plants, but our brand promise, to our customers of being right and on time every time, and to our employee owners. So we are employee owned. So all of our shareholders are employees of Central States. One of the unique things, if you've heard of an ESOP, I personally had never heard of one until I joined one. But we're a bit of a unicorn in that we continue to grow pretty aggressively throughout the country. We just had a big acquisition out of Atlanta. And it's one of those places I think a lot of folks don't think of when they're coming into tech is steel. But there is a lot of tech, and I hope to touch on some of that as we go through the panel. So thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you so much. And last but absolutely not least is Dave Gandy, founder of Font Awesome. And Dave, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah, so my name is Dave Gandy, and I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Font Awesome. We make icons for people who make websites. That's pretty much it. We're a relatively small tech company, but there's a good chance you've already seen our work out there today. So we are on about 32% of the internet now. Our open source project or one of our paid products are out there quite a ways. We serve around 6 trillion icons a month, which is an average of about 1,000 per person on Earth every month. So we have sort of an irresponsible level of technology in order to serve icons. I get to do it with the best human beings that I've ever known. We're a small company of about 20. But I grew up around here. I grew up an hour north next to Joplin in a little town called Carl Junction. Went off to school in Boston in the tech area, majored in product design in mechanical engineering at MIT, and really fell in love with that intersection with product and people, right? People and technology, and product is really where that intersects. And so that place, putting ourselves in the place of where our users are going to be is really where our advantage is. That space between design and development, we really at the core of what we do is we make designers better developers and developers better designers. And we do it in the way that makes them look better, convert better. And we just, sort of accidentally along the way became a de facto standard. But I get to work with, like I said, the best people I ever knew. Started the company with my childhood best friend of 35 years now. We're a fully remote company, and we have a lot of folks here in Northwest Arkansas and Southwest Missouri. About half of our company is here, and my wife and I moved here about 6 years ago on purpose because we wanted to be here. This was such an outstanding area with so many awesome things to do that we came here, we wanted to be here. And it's a really, really fun time in tech, being able to choose where you want to be first. How do you want to live your life first, with opportunities coming from there?
Yeah, we did the same. We chose to move here. So thank you. So Sapna, I'd like to start with you and ask, how have you seen the tech industry really evolve over the years, and what do you see kind of as it's changing? Any of your insights?
There are four main things that I think have been evolving and changing over the years. First is the tech ecosystem itself in Northwest Arkansas. I feel like there are so many entrepreneurs and startups that are moving to this area and investing in Northwest Arkansas. With that comes a lot of technical job opportunities, because there is no business that can run successfully without the use of technology, and if you need that, you need tech professionals, and that brings about job opportunities, and that abundance in opportunities is only going to further accelerate in the coming years. Secondly, I feel like tech jobs have become more specialized. At one point, it used to be just coding, development, programming, whatever you want to call it, front-end, back-end, mobile technology, but now it is becoming more specialized in terms of, just for example, machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence that is focused on data and stats. We have other related topics like data lakes, cloud platforms, blockchain technology, so many new specialized areas that people could find jobs in. And with technology comes threat and the importance of data protection and privacy. So cybersecurity is another popular area that is becoming more sought after. So that's so seeing these specialized areas, which again with opportunities, then you have choice and variety of what to pick and choose from for a career, is also changing and evolving. Thirdly, I'd like to say with pandemic, being remote and hybrid has become the norm, that more and more people are moving here and working remotely. People who like mountain biking, who like the nature, who like outdoors, are moving here and working remotely. So that is a whole new way of life in the past 3 years that we've seen. So that's changing. And last but not least, I think the future workforce, the tech workforce, is going to comprise more and more of millennials and Gen Zs. And what they want from an employer is becoming different than what people wanted before. They are looking for, of course, work-life balance is going to be the topmost priority, but also millennials and Gen Zs look for employers who promote green technology, clean technology. They also look for companies who follow the ESG principles, which is the environmental, social, and governance principles. So they're looking for companies who are more ethical, who are doing the right thing, who are socially responsible. So all of these are good changes that we are seeing now, and it's going to continue.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Good perspective. So Andrew, I know you mentioned that you've only lived here a couple years. What is your perspective? Do you have any kind of different perspective coming from elsewhere?
Yeah, it was funny. I went back to Seattle in June, and everybody asked about what I've been doing and working at Walmart since I moved here.
Yeah.
It's kind of I think the thing that a lot of folks gloss over is that there's a ton of opportunities within the small business, and when we talked about the specialization, big thing that I saw growing up and living in Seattle was the ecosystem that evolves within the small business community. They need support as well, and a lot of other businesses can grow up there. So the tech jobs that are out there aren't just in kind of the big three in the area. There's a ton of opportunity to feed into that ecosystem of even solopreneurs or entrepreneurs that are starting up, maybe supporting those large organizations, but those spawn their own industries. And it becomes, often I think, we look at democratization of technology with cloud computing, and even as you get into like machine learning, whether it's generative AI, or things like your smart or ChatGPT, these are things that enable these small businesses to be very effective with small teams. I mean, I think you look at something Font Awesome is doing with a really small team. There's a ton of success stories out there, and those business leaders, while they need to focus on solving their problems, they often need strong technologists to come in and solve their problems, right? Steel manufacturing in Northwest Arkansas, at Central States, this company that's flourished and grown through the years is left with a ton of technical debt, right? And you can't just go in, well, cybersecurity is the buzz, and you might go to these classes and see the big pew maps of all these cyber attacks happening. What they need is somebody to come in and go, how can I secure this $4 million machine without telling me I need to replace this $4 million machine, right? So the problem solving that's involved, that I think is, we often glance over as we're kind of focused on, how to get into the big companies in the area.
Very insightful. So, Dave, being a founder, obviously, and having 20 employees, they are core to your operations. Can you tell me what skill sets are really critical to you?
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely rattle off a particular tech chain, like, we're fans of Elixir in Phoenix with a little bit of Vue on the front end or something like that. But what it really comes down to is it's not any one particular technology, and it really has to be, once you know one language on how to code, it's like another language. You can pick it up relatively quick once you know the fundamentals of how language works. It's the same in tech. So the thing that we really look for primarily is that problem-solving ability, but the bigger piece of that, the bigger thing that we really look for is who the person is across the table that we're talking to, the character of who this person is. Is this somebody that you want to wake up next to and work alongside? Is this somebody when stuff gets bad that you want to be next to? And I think that the focus there first on character and second on capability is, I know that it's, a thing a lot of people talk about. We really, really try to do it from the ground up, because there's lots of people that know the technology. Technology, strangely enough, is actually one of the easier parts of it. But being the kind of person, being reliable, being the kind of person who sees a place that needs to be improved and just goes and does it, right? This is really, really basic stuff. There's lots of different ways to talk about it, but it really just comes down to being somebody that can be counted on a daily basis, on a regular, reliable basis, and somebody that people really love working alongside. We're small. The company's been around for about 9 years. Nobody's ever left. We've never had to have layoffs of any kind. And a lot of that, and we take a long time hiring. We'll take 1 to 2 years often getting to know people because we're not in a rush to hire. We're in a rush to do things well, to do things methodically. And so the pandemic hit, and it really didn't change a whole lot on how we did much of anything. But we were lucky because we were remote first. But the core of it, the skill set, the technology piece of it's important, but by far the more important thing is who you are as a person for us.
Yeah. I find it incredible to hear no one has ever left. I don't know of any other business that could ever say that.
Well, some of that's going to be luck, certainly. But we're 20 people. It's not that many, right? But really focusing on who people are. And it's, we have a strange recruitment process. Everybody works on a project with us. Because if you want to know what it's like to work with somebody, the only way to know for sure is to actually work with them. Because it's when a project goes sideways, when something's kind of off and you got to ask through it, talk through it, all of that little bit of conflict that's going to happen there, there's so much rich information, and you can get to it pretty quick in a small project. But it's an opportunity cost for the person doing it too. If somebody's got lots of opportunities, lots of interesting places, taking the time to do a project with somebody is going to be tough. So it's a hard needle to thread. But.
Yeah. Well, Joel, Tyson Foods is a little different than Font Awesome. Do you have another perspective on the skills?
Yeah, well, so one, I want to echo and agree 100% with Dave's points on that problem solving and curiosity skill sets, those soft skills, are really critical, regardless of the size of company or organization you're in. And I've seen that play out in folks' success in engineering and growing their roles in technology by having those kind of soft skills. From a technology perspective, I think for us, and I've seen this across other companies as well as I interact with my peers, but really that growth of skills around, partial obviously to data with my role, but data engineering roles, data science roles, those obviously are growing, continue to gain momentum and popularity, but also skills around ML ops, skills around what I would call your prompt engineering. If you think about LLMs, being able to have those skill sets and develop those skill sets, because that's an emerging technology that people are starting to focus on. How do we, you're going to hear the question a lot, we hear it a lot around, well, how do I leverage AI to solve this? Well, you've got to start to have an understanding of those technologies and those skills to be able to help solve those problems, help contribute to those questions when they come up within your company. The other part I would say is, and Sapna touched on it in her introduction, she talked about there's a lot of specialization of technical skills. I think that's great, but also where someone's going to be able to be successful and really grow their career, they've got to be able to connect the dots, meaning if I'm a data scientist but I don't know how to implement it within the business, implement a solution for the business, then that's going to be a gap. But being able to connect the dots across to say, this is how these different technologies fit, or for example, in my area, if I look at a data engineer, can they write a pipeline and connect the model and get it to a visualization solution and understand how that all fits together? That's going to help them be that much more successful and deliver a more valuable technology solution in the end. So those are some skills that I think are definitely important in thinking about how you put those skill sets together.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. So I'm going to ask each of you the same question. But I'd like to get everyone's perspective. For anyone out there that is just starting in the tech industry or kind of re-entering the tech industry, what bit of advice would you give them? And Andrew, I'll start with you and we'll work our way to Dave.
Sure. I don't know there's ever been a time like we have today where you can, all this information's at our fingertip, and I think at the same time, you have things like ChatGPT that is creating a ton of snake oil out in the industry. So being able to really discern between, time is ultimately one of our most important resources, and the amount of time you can invest in training and learning, ensuring that you have like a good mentor or somebody in your community that can help guide you down, so you're not wasting time, on studies that aren't really value add to kind of what's going on in the industry. So. But at the same time, the amount of information that can be gleaned through online programs, through online universities, certificate programs, those kind of things are pretty amazing. So I'd say just mostly exposing yourself to the different ways technology can be used and leveraged. Like we kind of talked about, being able to connect those dots between different departments. It's often that you'll get somebody that's so specialized they're not really kind of able to see through the forest through the trees. So making sure, I think especially for students or folks kind of breaking into technology arena, finding those areas that you might have gaps or not been exposed to, right? If you're a network engineer, spending some time in data analytics or structured data courses, or gleaning that information online through different certificate programs is a worthwhile venture. I think really kind of categorizing the areas that you haven't been exposed to and then seeking out areas to get exposure to those. And whether that's, jumping into open source projects, looking for areas to add on. There's some really neat things like within GitHub where you can go on and find programs where folks will categorize problems they need help with or documentation they need completed. And they'll categorize as like, look, we could do this, we just don't have enough time. These are easy kind of beginner level things for folks to solve. And they're great ways to kind of jump in and get your feet wet.
Great advice. Thank you. Joel?
Yeah, so I think great suggestions. And, one thing I would say, first of all, is it's important to find what you're passionate about. What do you have a deep interest in? Generally, you're going to be successful at something you're already interested in or excited about the topic. So you'll find folks that get really excited about security topics, or, hey, just digging into what does it mean to be involved in cybersecurity and solving those kind of problems. versus other people may get really geeked out about digging into data. What can I do with data? What are the cool things I can come up with? And so that passion will play out into your ability to learn and pick it up, be successful. So I think definitely find things you're passionate about. But I agree with the looking out for training. One of the things I found kind of, even as I got outside of corporate and went to the startup world for a while, there's so much online training. There's free training available. There's so many of these companies, whether it be your Googles, your AWSs, that got multiple modules out there that you can go and sign up for and learn the basics of to get your foot in the door, get a basic understanding. So look for those opportunities. And then even there's programs. I think we've got programs here locally in Arkansas, like ACDS, that have internship programs to help you learn the basics and get you a foot in the door of a job. So I think there's lots and lots of opportunity out there, but you have to look, you have to search, network a bit, take advantage of local meetups, that type of thing. Those will all help you kind of build that network and understand where you want to go. Those would be some of the points I would suggest.
Good, very good.
I like what Joel said. First of all, IT is so vast that it can be overwhelming. So find what interests you, what skill you want to pursue. That is probably the first step. Secondly, as somebody who sits in on technical interviews and watches and listens to technical interviews almost every day at Kitestring, one piece of advice I'll give you all is if you are actively job seeking, if you put it out there that you're looking for a job, if you started applying to positions, always prepare for an interview. Brush up your coding skills. There are so many tools like HackerEarth, HackerRank out there that you can go practice coding exercises, do some algorithm exercises, just so you are prepared for the interview. Learn your basic technical concepts, your foundation principles, your object-oriented programming skills. All of those things show that you are a seasoned, you know your foundation, you know your basics. So doing all that will give a very good impression in an interview. And always remember, they're also looking for soft skills, your communication style, your problem-solving techniques, all of this. So prepare, speak in front of a mirror, do mock interviews with friends who will give you honest feedback. All of these will help you go a long way. And if you're somebody who's restarting your career, I think it's super important to be relevant. There is a new version of something or the other coming out every day. So if you don't keep up with the latest trends, tools, software languages, you're going to become rusty and outdated. So it's very important to stay relevant and up to date. Next, networking sessions, conferences, seminars. So if you're here today, you did the right thing. So make sure to meet as many people as you can. You never know, you might see a hiring manager, you might meet a decision maker in these places. So try to attend as many as you can. And there are so many meetup sessions that are free of cost. I think we have the developers conference, developers meetup sessions, we have product owners guilds, all of those are free. So just sign up and be there. Last point is once you get a job, once you go in, don't become complacent, don't become relaxed, I found my job. Just be as passionate and be as driven because you are creating software solutions that might make a difference to a customer or to the community at large. So stay driven and stay dedicated.
I love that. Thank you. Dave.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things that's been just the most powerful over the longest period of time is community. Finding people around you that are similar and interested in similar things. And look for good people, right? Look for the good people who are there who genuinely spend their time kind of thinking about and caring about others from a different perspective. Surround yourself by those folks. And don't just go just to kind of network and get names and make connections from that, but try to make like real, lifelong, actual connections. Find out who people really are, what they're passionate about, what they're nerds about, right? What are the things that they really, really love in kind of a funny, deep way. Those relationships, I think, are such a great place. For me, something I found helpful is the NWA Tech Fest has a great Slack channel. There are lots of people there who would love to connect, and they've got very regular meetups for that kind of thing. Anything along that lines, I think, is a great thing to do in the long run, regardless of how anything turns out, any particular job, whatever. those relationships that outlast any particular job, I think are going to be the ones that are going to be the most valuable over the longest run. I think for folks that are especially young, not just in their career, but age-wise, man, I tell you what, it's a gift to be able to see where the world is going to be in 20 years right now. You'll see it. 20 years ago, the stuff that I found was interesting. I thought the web was like the most interesting, coolest thing ever, just to go and tinker with it. There were no jobs in this yet. There was nothing out there. You know, maybe you can go out and get a consulting gig from somebody, company, whatever. Like, it's you get to see the future before it happens. And AI is definitely having a moment right now, but there's an interesting thing happening. You know, 20 years ago, it was a secret that every company was a tech company. It just didn't know it yet. The secret now is that every company is a media company. They may not know it yet. So all of the skills around video, all the skills around production, all the skills around writing, things that right now don't necessarily seem like hard tech, boy, are they about to be fair game, right square in the middle of all of that coming up. So that's another one that's up and coming. If you've been in the game a little while back and you're looking to get back in tech, again, that community piece is a really good place to be able to stay relevant, to know kind of where things are, get that quick way to come up to speed. It's so valuable for that. And I think that, let's see. Yeah, that passion piece is such an important piece to follow that as it goes. Remote work is especially great once you're a little more established in that career, because you may not get as many learning opportunities. You're not going to have just the random conversations at work, people you run into, talking over lunch. Those are really, really valuable early on. And it is harder to get that in a remote, I'll be honest. And so those in-person jobs make such a difference for that. So be a little smart about kind of when and how you're picking and choosing to go after those. And I think you can really get a lot of leverage out of that time spent. But those, ultimately everything, those long-term relationships that you form are the ones that last and mean the most in the long run.
I love that, because one of the things that became very, very obvious to me through COVID was, that just personable experience that you have with coworkers. You feel like you share life with them too, and building those relationships and everything. And the other thing, just thinking about everything that we've talked about here, that tech is everywhere, and would not have necessarily, years ago thought that tech was at Central States and I'm at Tyson. Just some of those unique. It's just everywhere. So anyway, I want to thank you all very much for your insights today. Certainly appreciate you being on the panel, and I know that this was beneficial for the audience. And we thank everybody at the summit and everything that everybody does to put this together. We just thank you very much for allowing us to be up on stage today.
Thanks for having us.